Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. This match is between ZephyrPrime and Bitter Code. ZephyrPrime, aka is also known as TeriusPrime, I should say, from the illustrious Korean clan Prime, of course. Bitter Cold is also known as Slayers Golden from Team Slayers, one of the few Zerg players I have. Before I get too far into this match, though, want to remind everybody, GSL Finals coming up this Friday. If you're in the Southern California area, we have it going on at Joe's Pizza. Check out the TeamLiquid forums, the community section for that. Basically a barcraft going on. It's been going for quite some time. We're one of the originals. Otherwise, this is actually from the TeamSpeak TeamLiquid Open. Be sure to check out that event while it happens. It has a really high level of play for an open event. So, Bitter Cold, hopefully I won't keep calling him that, and I will focus on calling him Golden Slayers. He is a yellow color. He's opening up with a 9 pool, interestingly enough. And this is on Shakuras Plateau, by the way. It looks like this Overlord Scout is going to the upper right-hand corner for Zephyr, so he may not scout this out in time. But essentially what this means is he's definitely going to be opening up with an aggressive stance. Wants to get a lot of Zerglings out and wants to try to make Terius basically pay for any sort of early economy that he tries to roll, including, okay, yes, he is getting an extractor. That usually does indicate he's going to follow up with a spawning pool and some early Zergling speed. But at the same time, if he doesn't keep some larvae out there, if he doesn't at least get out 4 Zerglings to back that up with a couple drones, he's going to be in big trouble early. The question is will Slayers Golden be able to follow that up with all of those Zerglings inside of the base, which I assume he's going to be able to get across there, because I believe this is no close spawn position, so I love this build, by the way. So this Overlord's going to scout this bottom left-hand corner upon not seeing creep right now. He's essentially knows, okay, he's in cross positions in the upper left-hand corner. Zephyr now getting that spawning pool out, but the spawning pool is already finished. It looks like we do have the full complement of 8 Zerglings going to start flooding out towards this natural expansion of ZephyrPrime. And that spawning pool is just halfway finished, and it does not look like he's keeping any larvae down here. Even if he does, honestly, these Zerglings are going to be on top of his base before he even has a single Zergling out, it feels like. And let's actually see how we see Golden follow this up. If he just decides to sit that queen back, spawn larvae, definitely, and how much damage he can do critically, because keep in mind this is a big economic setback to open up with this build right off the bat. And unfortunately, okay, no Zerglings even yet, and there's like a half-second delay, and that counts for everything. The Zerglings already flooding in, and there's only 4 Zerglings in production. These Zerglings going to have quite a few seconds to get damage done. And you can see this is a lot of lost mining time in ZVZ that can count for everything. Zerglings going in attacking. Zephyr trying to regather his drones, doing the best he can, actually doing a nice gather, but more Zerglings continuing to flood forward, and it looks like the Zerglings, going to try to regroup, and that might be game right there. Zerglings trying to flood back. I gotta say though, Terius is doing a fantastic job on his defense thus far, but man, he's got so many Zerglings inside of his base. I think that's got to be it. Queen has popped out, and actually suddenly he's got a surround on those Zerglings. The drone's trying to pound away at what they can. Then it looks like there's only 3 Zerglings left, and bringing up the harvester count, 13 actually. So Yellow is actually taking the economic advantage over. He does have 3, but he needs to be somewhat careful sneaking back in. I'm actually going to leave the harvester count out because this is where it counts. He's now up to 15 compared to 8. On that opposite corner, taking a big lead early, but now it is going to be Terius' time to strike. He's got that Zergling speed kicking in. It's going to be a long time before you see Zergling speed from Yellow, and what he really needs to do is block this front door maybe. Between that and some Zerglings, look, he's getting a spine crawler down, wants to make sure, he knows he has the economic lead, he wants to hold this front door in the meantime. And a really good, well, let's see how Terius decides to pull back from this. He's definitely behind. You can see that that's a huge harvester gap. He is going to have that Zergling speed, but that's going to be his only advantage. He's actually very wisely just left a single drone on that extractor. Curious to see if he's going to try to push tech and do something curious, or in that direction. He's already getting rejected from that next expansion, or if he's going to go, you know what? I know I have Golden pinned back in his natural. Let me go ahead, and this is genius, absolutely genius from Golden. He's continuing to keep a Zergling out there so he can continue to scout, get a look, see whether there's a tech switch, see whether he's just going to continue to pump drones, or maybe he's going to sneak in another hatchery out in the wild. In the meantime, wow. Golden pumping all sorts of Zerglings. He's like, okay, I've got an advantage. I'm going to press it. 14 Zerglings in production. Keep in mind, he does not have the speed advantage. A Baneling Nest now in production for Terius. So if there's a Baneling hit on any of this group of Zerglings, that could be absolutely devastating. It looks like Golden is getting a Baneling Nest of his own. Is pretty well shelled up, and he's still somehow, what the heck, somehow fallen behind in the overall harvester count in his defense. between shelling up, and maybe that's just because of the counter pressure, and I think that's also just because of the sheer amount of zerglings that were created here. But keep in mind, a single baneling can completely change the match at this stage, and overall Golden does have the supply lead, first of all, significantly so, 10 supply, but additionally he's got all of those resources that flooded in the meantime, and you can see that in the bank count in that upper right hand corner. However, Zephyr is going to sneak out. He's going to see a lot of these Zerglings incoming. He does have that natural expansion up and running. 2 Banelings in production, and they are going to be just in the nick of time as all of these Zerglings are flooding out. That should be enough. Well, maybe it'll be enough. Let's see if he hides this, actually, and tries to tempt these Zerglings in, because if he can take out all of the Zerglings with just even 2 Banelings, that could be the shift in the match. So morphing a Baneling right there, trying to tempt them forward. That is going to ward the rest of the Zerglings back. And all of a sudden, Terius is back in this match, and Baneling's morphing actually on the exterior for Golden as well, trying to sneak up, trying to protect, and he wants to go all in. He's got all sorts of, wow, he's got a significant count of Zerglings over Terius, but still a large Baneling defensive wall, and it's going to come down to Baneling versus Baneling Micro. Slayers needs to spread them out, and he needs to hit as large a group as possible. Nice spread there initially by Terius, trying to bait explosions there. Wow, hit 4, wow, all of those Banelings. Actually, with just minimal forces and defending fantastically, still way behind. There's still a huge group of Zerglings left, but he still has 3 Banelings remaining. And that is going to force Slayer's Golden back briefly, as long as, well, ooh, never mind. Brilliant play right there, actually just sneaking in single Zerglings, forcing those Banelings to pop. And I gotta say, these guys are just really fighting it out raw here. Spinecrawler now trying to morph here in the corner. 2 Banelings trying to chase down their counter Baneling. 1 blowing up, and it didn't look like it got much there. 2, oh! Baneling's so close, but again, just a single Zergling left behind. And every Baneling they can keep out that's a little bit more, you're going to see Slayers trying to crack forward. He's getting his natural expansion up in the meantime, but this is a furious assault on this front door. Spinecrawler still trying to be built. That hatchery being whacked away at now is actually sitting at half health. No Banelings morphed in just yet. Now there's additional Banelings morphed in. That Spinecrawler will be up momentarily, but that's not going to be much of a defense. And the Zerglings trying to find their way around, but now they're pinned to that back corner. Somehow not getting exploded upon, but Baneling's getting crushed on that bottom corner, and they're just using position to try to threaten that ramp, to try to keep ZephyrPrime back, and in the meantime, he's not able to saturate this natural expansion, and Slayers is starting to get some saturation at his natural. Well, I assume so in just a moment. Wow. Absolutely incredible from both players, and somehow this entire time, it's just been a just even, flat even as far as the Harvester count. Zephyr still has some work cut out for him, and I'm sorry I keep alternating between Zephyr and Terius here. But a 10 supply lead. Slayer's not able to crush and break through, but now he has that natural expansion up and producing. Granted, he does not have a Spinecrawler there, but at the same time, he's, I gotta give it to Terius. He's done such a fantastic job defending. Zerglings returning to home base now just to play a little bit defensive and be sure it looks like a couple Zerglings did manage to sneak through. In the meantime, it looks like also a great job from Slayers actually clearing out some Overlords, putting Terius into the red. Natural expansion just now getting saturated and missing a little bit of a Baneling assault right there. I assume we saw a Baneling exchange, and I think that Slayers ended up being the lesser in there, so probably 1 Baneling taking out 3, maybe even 4 right there, and 1 getting taken out in open field. So right now, Slayers actually doesn't have any Banelings to control. He's going to have to morph them back at his base, but he does have a Roach Warren out. If he can get some Roaches fielded and get some creep spread towards that front door, he's going to be in a great situation. Looks like he's already got several creep tumors starting to press that direction. Spinecrawler repositioning now that all of a sudden Terius has a bit of breathing room. However, the supply count, and specifically the Harvester count, which is really the critical thing, way in Slayer's favor. And even though Terius is doing a fantastic job defending, he's got to find some way with actually inferior tech, because he does not have a Roach Warren of his own to sneak back into this, and that's going to come down to some sort of magic, sneaking some sort of Banelings into this natural expansion somehow. And on top of that, he's got all sorts of stuff in the way. First of all, that Spinecrawler, amongst other things, but a lot of Zerglings, some creep tumors. Looks like the Zerglings trying to encroach in. They're still, oh, they're going to be able to get by, trying to sneak by to get into the main. They are able to sneak into the main. They're going to see that hatchery. They're going to see that Baneling nest. Critically, they're going to see that Roach Warren and that second gas as well. So lots of scouting information gleaned. But the Zerglings still are going to be sacrificial, unfortunately, and this is not what Terius needed to do. He needed to preserve every single unit at this stage, particularly being behind essentially 30 supply. Macro hatch, by the way, on the interior here. trying to catch where the action is just happening all over the place. So I'm not getting a great look at the tech. Terius able to sneak out with just a zergling there at this stage. Hatchery is well saturated for him in the natural expansion. It looks like he's pumped drones where he can, but he's still well behind in the overall drone count. He's also specifically behind in the overall gas intake, and that's huge. If you fall behind in gas, that can sometimes be the game in and of itself. Getting up an evolution chamber and a roach warren of his own, but he's already behind as far as just raw output, because you're going to see a larval advantage. Looks like a zergling sneaking through there. It looks like, yeah, evolution chamber on the front door. So Zephyr knows he needs to shell up. Getting 2 additional spine crawlers, absolutely necessary. Slow overlords moving out, and I love this by Slayers. He knows he has map control. He knows he's got Terius pinned back. He knows he has to shove him in a defensive position, so instead he's going to take this upper right hand corner that basically there's not going to be any opportunity for Terius to really attack. So I think that's a genius maneuver, just going to continue to build that economic advantage and just abuse the map control that he has, continuing to spread this creep. If he can get the creep all the way to the front and get those roaches in a forward position, it is going to be absolutely devastating. Nice, actually able to kill a baneling right there. Anytime a single zergling takes out a single baneling, it's a victory. But I gotta say, I also love the vision for Terius, because you look at this, considering how little map control he has fantastic vision across that map. And it looks like he was actually able to kill an overlord somewhere right there to put Slayers in the red. In the meantime, large attack staging forward. This is several spine crawlers as well as 2 queens. And it looks like some roaches are starting to come out for Terius as well. He's still 20 supply down, but I don't think this is enough of an army to breach this, and this could be the swing attack, losing 1 roach right there. It's a good thing Slayers did not dedicate, because that would have been a huge, absolutely critical mistake. In the meantime, Infestation Pit in the corner, going to be up and running for Golden. It also has the Glial Reconstitution well on the way. It's going to be a big shift, and he's a little bit behind on Missile 1 attack, though, and he is going to be behind in, well, it looks like pathogen gels as well, pathogen glands as well. But critically, he's got this 3rd base up and running. He's got an additional hatchery in his main, and Zephyr needs to go out and do something. And wow, look at the anticipation here. Slayers already has zerglings right there, anticipating the next expansion, which actually is where I missed. Another expansion, bottom left-hand corner. Somehow able to take it. Keep in mind, it hasn't been saturated this entire time. But Zergling's being taken out, and it looks like he's actually, that might give an indication here to Slayers. Did he know there was an additional hatchery here? Let's poke. No, he did not. So maybe thinking, okay, he's just now taking that expansion rather than that expansion's up, which is going to give him a little bit more of a mentality is, okay, I can have a little bit more breathing room. I can be a little bit more defensive when he really doesn't have it. And this is incredible from Terius. Instead of trying to just pound for pound outman him, which he knows he cannot do, instead getting a huge amount of infestors out right off the bat, and he's going to start moving these spine crawlers forward in a defensive slot, spreading creep. This is genius play to take control of the middle of the map with what units he has. In the meantime, it looks like Slayers, I keep saying Slayers when I really should be saying Golden here. Golden is going to press forward with that Overseer, scout what he can. He is going to see these infestors, but the question is will he be able to do anything? Where did Terius sneak out this gas? That was really brilliant timing, I gotta say, across the board, sneaking this gas and getting this roach army out here, because that's going to put him right back in this match, and he's already got this bottom left-hand corner well saturated in comparison. So even though he's actually suddenly swung ahead in harvesters, that additional saturated base is really going to be huge. Looks like another base being taken, however, by Slayers in the meantime. Needs to saturate it to make it really worthwhile. Oof, he's got a lot of roaches out there. He's got a 35 to 18 roach count. Granted, there's 2 infestors over, but essentially if Terius is going to stay in this match, he's going to have to either have a beautiful, favorable engagement right on top of these spine crawlers, or he's going to have to just absolutely obliterate this army with fungal growth. Unfortunately, Slayers for Terius, Slayers Golden reaching near the 100 mark, and you can expect an attack somewhere around the nearest upgrade. As that approaches, it looks like he does have, yeah, Tunneling Claws upgrading. He's also got more Infestors, level 2 weapons, and he's also got Burrow, so he's going to try to go for that ground attack. I do not, okay, looks like there is an Overseer, however, on that opposite corner, no anti-air, yeah, anti-air is what I want to call it. I don't really want to call it anti-air, because you're not really defending against an Overseer. It's just sitting there kind of latently spotting. The point being, there's nothing to pick that Overseer out to prevent it from spotting these burrowed roaches, and that's a pretty serious investment. That could be a handful of roaches or even infestor whatnot. So, but what the one advantage for Golden in this situation is he's going to be able to burrow those infestors and protect them, pull them out of the fight if he needs to, maybe even sneak them forward a little bit better with the positioning and whatnot. So, looks like this Roach army swinging around. It's going to try to look for an opportunity attack. Zephyr right on top of it. Beautiful fungal! Oh my goodness, hitting the entirety of that army. There's great fungal in the opposite corner, but the initial fungal is definitely favoring Terriers in this engagement. The Roaches continuing to press through. That is the third fungal growth, so this huge clump of Roaches is going to pop much faster than Terriers' Roaches, and he's on top of that Spine Crawler. More reinforcements coming in, shorter reinforcement point, and all of a sudden Terrius, with a great engagement, is right back in this match, even though he is down overall in supply. That should shift momentarily, though, and burrowing right there. The Overseer not in position. Where's that Overseer? Is being lazy. Not actually grouped up in that fight. Looks like there's just going to be some burrowing, counter-burrowing here. Golden still maintaining the overall supply lead, but that was a great engagement for Terius, really crushing a lot of those troops. He had inferior numbers and still ended up holding. Overall, he's actually got the Harvester count lead just by 2, and I don't think actually needs to hold back on the Harvester count just a little bit here. Another group of Roaches starting to press into the middle. A inferior Infestor count on the forward front. I'm not sure if that's an inferior Infestor count overall. No, it's 8-3. Wow. So fungal growth is going to be the key spell here for TeriusPrime to stay in this match, and if he lands, then that could be the difference in this match. In fact, it will be the difference in this match. Did he just kill his own Overseer? No, he just killed an Overseer, an Overlord that was hanging out over the field, so he can kill it. But these Spine Crawlers being absolutely huge, continuing to crawl forward. All of a sudden, for the first time in this match, Terius actually is taking the supply lead from what was a terrible match situation, and it looks like he's actually snuck through with some Infestors of his own with that tunneling claw and that burrow, and it looks like he's going to have free reign into these upper right-hand expansions. And if he lands some fungals, even some Infested Terran, there's the Infested Terran going to explode all over this natural expansion. The Roach is trying to run up there and try to catch these Infestors, but he's going to end up losing a lot of Harvesters in the meantime. Wow, counter fungal just to deal with the Infested Terran, but still losing a lot of mining time. Losing several Harvesters in that attack as well. Oof, very significant shift right there. Huge shift, and I'm wondering if I even missed an attack right there of additional Harvesters. Nidus Network, all of a sudden, from Slayer's Golden to try to play the positional game. Very interesting. Both players working their way to hive. It looks like Golden is going to be a little bit ahead in that attack. Both players kind of at a standstill. Neither really wants to engage unfavorably in the middle. Ooh, that queen getting a little too ambitious. Yeah, that's the one smacks. Just disintegrates that queen. Overseer is going to be able to sneak in this upper left-hand corner. And also, very interesting, a shift to Spire. And let's see if I can find that Spire on the map for you. But the Nidus Network up, it's going to have spotting here. Does he see it? He's got to see it. They're on that corner, trying to flood the units back. So all the Roaches is going to start swinging in. He's going to be able to stop that Nidus Network, but that does open up midfield. So that is going to open up a split attack. So needs to worry about those Nidus Networks sneaking back and forth in the meantime. Infested Marines continuing to obliterate Golden's economy on this soft back edge. He still has not taken care of these Infestors, so great play from both players. I gotta say, the advantage definitely going to Terius. He's swinging, and he's taking the advantage in this map completely annihilating production, this upper right-hand facility. Now down to 57 Harvesters. And he's trying to, it looks like he's actually moving an Infestor, maybe something up there, to try to cope with this, but still, the damage has already been done. And it's that stage of the game where really can Golden recover now? All sorts of Roaches gathered up. Just looking at the flat counts right now, 52 Roaches. But really, what I think the significant thing is the 14 Infestors. So it's going to come down to positioning again. And I guess just flat reproduction. Okay, let's see. Are the Infestors? Oh yeah, the Infestors going to try to escape. They do have scouting of that Overseer. Just overhead, like, keep your lives! Bombs from above. Not going to end up happening. That is a lot of larvae, too, that are being unutilized here. Looking at the overall army count, though, you would think, okay, well, this is definitely going to go more towards Golden's favor. However, if he ends up just keep getting picked away at and keeps losing these just minor engagements, or he just gets hit by these fungals, particularly if he ends up losing Infestors without counter, oof, yeah, keeps getting counter fungled, and he's going to lose several Infestors. Wow, that would look like the entirety of his Infestor base. He only has 4 on his front that I see. Keep in mind, Greater Spire in the corner, that we do see a Nidus Network now being built for Terius in the meantime. Trying to figure out where that's actually located. Looks like an Overlord is swinging through everywhere to kind of spot this, however. Come on, where's that Nidus Network? I guess I'll just wait for it to pop up someplace. Is it here in the corner? I'll stop hunting. Anyway, in the meantime, more fungal growth happening on the front. Looks like just a little bit of attack squad. They're just running up, fungaling everything. And because of that protective enclave of these Spine Crawlers, it's very difficult to cope with. And I love this Overseer in the meantime. 4 Slayers just going absolutely everywhere, spotting absolutely everything. just getting eyes everywhere. In the meantime, just, yeah, minor skirmishes, engagements, Infestors being dropped on both hands. We have some, on both sides, Corruptors now in production. This could be the swing that Slayers was looking for. He does have that high tech out. He can get that Greatest Prime in production. In the meantime, he could build that Corruptor, and it looks like we do have a Nidus network being built in this upper right-hand corner. Oh my goodness. And this is, keep in mind, this is as Corruptors are being produced out in the field. They're not going to be able to, I mean, air. What are they going to do? Nidus Worm is up. Roach is going to be free fielding here. They are not scattered. There's Roaches in that upper right-hand base flooding through. A handful of Roaches trying to scoot to that back right-hand corner to cope with it, but they're not going to be able to get there in time. Not before that hatchery is killed. And he doesn't want to flood too many units out of the middle, otherwise he's going to end up losing center map position. He's also established another expansion in that bottom right-hand corner. So Tirius actually striking a great attack here. He's also managed to pick up a lot of Harvester. He's still managing to hold a huge Harvester lead count overall. There's the Fungal Growths. Actually, going to be able to clean up a lot of these Roaches without suffering too much damages, and it looks like still able to hold the middle, though. Didn't look like Zephyr really, there it was, minus network right in the middle of the map. Didn't look like Tirius really wanted to engage there, feeling a little bit uncomfortable. Now we have another Overlord sneaking to this corner. We might see another Nidus network. Keep in mind, a lot of these troops somewhat out of position. They're going to have to dash right back here, seeing this Overlord on the corner. There's that Nidus network in position. A Queen somewhat nearby. The Roach is trying to follow, but here's the attack across the middle while that army is in transition. Not too much of a commit there. So it looks like Tiri is feeling like, okay, no, maybe not. I'm going to go ahead and back up. I'm going to go ahead and slow play this. But is this going to give Slayers the opportunity he needs to turn these Corruptors into Broodlords and swing this game? He's already got several Broodlords out in the field. I don't see a lot of Infestors out in the front to really cope with that. Granted, you do have 7 somewhere out in the, or sorry, 14 somewhere out in the field. But there's got to be a lot of Roaches underneath, and it looks like they're, yeah, this is going to be very difficult positioning, particularly over this high ground, because Infestors need to get in the front, and I think this is the point where Tirius was like, oh crap, looks like I might have missed another Nidus network to the north. I'm not sure, though. I'm pretty sure not. Overlord's still here, so that could be another key artifact, but these Broodlords really standing tall for Golden in this match, starting to poke away at what he can with these Spine Crawlers. Roach is actually sneaking forward and just eating damage. There's a nice Fungal Growth. Great bait by Tirius, now dropping a lot of units in between, trying to force this attack from Golden. Golden is actually pushing a little bit more forward than he wants to. This is not the gap he wants to engage into, because Fungal Growths everywhere could be destructive. There's the Nidus Worm. I was actually expecting that a little bit sooner. And it looks like he's going to be able to retake this upper right-hand corner. And wow, things really swinging into Tirius' favor despite the lack of air control. He's up 73 Harvesters, 243. He's consistently taking down these outlying expansions with just these teeny attack forces, really using these Nidus networks well. And keep in mind, this Overlord's still here, so I'm looking for a follow-up Nidus network now that this army is completely out of position. Or maybe even an attack straight up the middle. Granted, there is a large grouping of Spine Crawlers there in the middle, and there are Broodlords, but there's still a lot of Infested Terrans and whatnot. I still got to say, it's anyone's game. However, Broodlords now being created for Tirius as well. Things definitely swinging, and I got to say, from what looked like an easy victory from Golden at the early stages of this match, he's done a fantastic job to swing this back around in his favor. And that is a very scary army out in the middle. It looks like that ill-fated Infestor. Broodlords moving to the north. Careful, because there are Corruptors and Infestors right there. They can catch, if they catch this entire army, that could be GG. Grouping up, this is just Infestor bait on this engagement point. There's Fungal Growth all over the entirety of that army. Slayers most certainly should end up losing this attack. These Broodlords in the rear being completely untouched. The Corruptors on the front, yes, they are going to be chewed through, but does he have enough just to pound through it? And there's Overlords everywhere, so I can't even see what's underneath this, honestly. But wow, holy crap, it looks like there's still plenty of Broodlords remaining. More Corruptors coming in to reinforce, so even though there's a 40 supply difference, will Tirius be able to swing back around and save this expansion? It looks like the hatchery has been mostly untouched, but the Overlord's moving to reveal that there are in fact Roaches left underneath. And looks like Slayers, despite having a huge disadvantage in the overall supply, and that engagement did not look fantastic, has managed to win out overall, is continuing to careen forward in this. Both players, I think, have full upgrades across the board, so that is, and actually, he won that with inferior upgrades. It's actually a 2-1 army versus 3-3 Roaches. Great play on his part, considering he had to play mostly in the dark with all of those Overlords in the way. I mean, what can he target? Seriously. Roach is swinging around, but he does not want to overcommit. He needs to be somewhat careful here Terius, though, supply block. Keep in mind, he's got to do it with what he's got here. He's still sticking at 200 supply and trying to charge for what he can. I don't see a lot of infestors here to deal with those brood lords, and yes, these roaches are highly upgraded, but if they can't just pound through and deal with it, they can attack air, so that could be the difference here. And there's a huge corruptor force just chewing through this army, so Terius has to get some infestors out to win this match. Slow crawling spine crawlers coming up from the corner from Golden. He feels it. He's continuing to charge forward. He knew he had Zephyr basically supply blocked right there, and without anything to cope with his overwhelming air dominance, and there's all sorts of juicy overlords willing to just eat damage. An Infestor wandering in, looks like it's going to get some fungal growth. It's not going to be enough, however, and all of a sudden, Golden popping this match wide open. Absolutely wide open. It looks like there was another Nidus Worm here in the corner, and I missed that during all of that attack that popped open and attacked that base in that bottom right-hand corner, but still, I'm not sure that it's going to make that big of a difference for Terius in these interim exchanges. Huge attacks happening absolutely everywhere. Roaches being just assaulted by these brood lords in the air. It does not look like Terius has any sort of response to this. He's trying to get infestors out, but they're just popping out very, very slowly. They're not popping out in large enough numbers to get the fungal growth that he needs. And I think that is going to be GG in a very wild and swinging match. He's trying to get an Ultralisk Cavern down of all things. And that is going to die. I'm surprised we haven't seen GG already. Zephyr just trying to cling on to this. As soon as he loses this Greater Spire, that's certainly got to be game. And Golden with just a huge dominant army. It looks like there are a couple roaches. And just 2 infestors left, and that's it. That's all the infestors that he had to his name. Still some roaches swing through. He's thinking, okay, maybe I can go for a base trade situation. That's not going to happen, though. When you have a big air army like this, it's very difficult to win base trade situations. Trying to swing through and do what he can. And it looks like, yeah, these roaches moving up, they're going to get, unfortunately, pinned in that upper right-hand corner. And that is all that Terius had to his name. Still trying to swing through and attack whatever he can. However, ooh, couple infestors did manage to keep through. They are popping up. They did manage to get a handful of fungal growths right there, but this army is ever deteriorating. And Terius just clinging on, though. He really wants to win this match. And actually, if he can continue with these fungals, might be able to swing it back around, although it's not looking pretty. Still some roaches in that upper right corner. It looks like there is an Overseer there, so they can get cleaned up. But keep in mind that huge upgrade advantage still in his corner. This bottom left-hand base is slowly being cracked, though, and I do not see any additional infestors there to provide any additional defense, particularly to clear out this huge corruptor army to equalize the air game. And without an equalization of the air game, that is essentially going to be it. Roaches, again, do not attack air. There's GG. Excellent game from both players. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, look for the GSL Finals Party at Joe's Pizza here in San Diego if you're in the Southern California area. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it.